How does composting work, Ann?
Composting is nature's recycling system. Bugs and bacteria and earthworms that live in the soil eat up your leaves and grass clippings and turn it back into humus, and then it works its way back into the ground and fertilizes the plants. It's a real simple system, just that nature does on its own. In fact, you don't even need a bin. For your leaves, you can make a mulch. I use this at home. I mulch with leaves, and in the spring this will turn into beautiful black rich soil, and it's so easy.
Well, if this is a low-tech system, this looks pretty high-tech to me.
That is high-tech.
How's it work?
Well, it was designed so that instead of turning it with a pitchfork, it's got gears and a crank. It's actually a little higher tech than you really need for just basic composting.
Is it expensive, Ann?
Well, it costs about $400.
Wow.
Boy, that's a lot for a compost bin, especially where I'm used to something like this. Basically 4 wooded sides, you know, when this one here where it slides up and down so you can get to the compost.
Yeah, you can even make one of these for free by putting pallets together. You can get those, you know, in your recycling center.
That's a great idea. What I don't like to see is people making them out of pressure-treated wood, because as this wood breaks down, it's going to release those chemicals into the compost, and that's not a good thing.
Now, is that the same thing in plastic?
Yeah, this is basically a similar thing in plastic, so it can't decompose.
The thing about this one I noticed is these come apart.
Yeah, it makes it easier to turn.
It fills up to here, and then as the leaves shrink, you take this off, and it's easy access to get at those leaves.
Great.
Now, what do we use for compost? Anything special?
You can put all your leaves and grass clippings into your compost, and you can also put your kitchen scraps. Anything vegetable or fruit waste.
I notice it all in here, huh?
Yeah. Normally, you always want to cover up your food waste with leaves so it won't smell and attract flies.
What about a cover?
Sure, that helps too, but it's important to keep the leaves on top of it. Covers are good. And you just don't want to add meat or dairy products, and don't put in dog or cat manure, because those can carry pathogens that you could get.
So the cover will help keep the rodents out.
Exactly.
Now this has a cover that screws on the top. The only thing I don't like about that is the water can't get down into the compost.
Exactly. With a bin with a solid cover, you have to stand there with a hose watering your compost. And I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather be out working in my garden than mothering a compost pile.
But one thing I do like is this door down here. It makes easy access to the finished compost, so you can just take it out of the bottom and keep adding material to the top.
Exactly. And even easier, if you want to get all the compost out at once, you can just pull the bin up off the pile that way.
Well, now looking at this one, this cap has a whole series of holes in it.
Yeah, actually, you can see there are holes in the cover, and it allows the rainwater to get in, but it keeps the animals out. In fact, my brother has one of these down in Connecticut, and he's in an area with a lot of raccoons, and he's seen raccoons trying to get in, but because their weight is on top, they can't pull this bin off, and they've been unable to get in.
What a good idea.
What about the holes on the side?
The holes on the side allow air to get in around the sides, and it's got a floor that's shaped just like that cover, so air can get in from below as well.
That means you don't have to turn the pile over because you have circulation going through it. Sounds like the type for you, huh?
Yeah, it does sound good.
And the mass of this one is so big that it won't freeze in the winter. This is going to keep cooking all winter long, where a smaller one would freeze solid and the composting would stop.
Exactly. Usually about 1 cubic yard is considered an optimum size for a compost bin, because it insulates itself, so it works better. This size is great.
Does this material make any difference for the insulation?
The heat mostly comes from the bacteria inside, but this is made out of recycled detergent bottles, so it's nice with the recycling process.
No, that's a good idea. Now, where would we get something like that?
You know, you can call your town hall and ask for the recycling program, see if they distribute bins. A lot of cities and towns distribute compost bins at a discount.
Great.